Isang makagham na araw mga kaibigan, ngayon ay oras na para sa mga napapanong balita tungkol sa agham at teknolohiya sa bansa. Ito ang DOST Report. Ako po si Oring Miranda, ang inyong kapatid sa Mabawid. At kasama po natin ang kalihim ng kagawaran na agham at teknolohiya, ang nag-iisang DOST Secretary Fortunato, Boy de la Peña. Magandang araw po si Boy.
Magandang araw, Oni, at magandang araw sa ating mga taga-subaybay. Gusto ko ding samantalahin ang pagkakataon ito para batiin ang ating mga taga-subaybay sapagkat tayo ay nakaabot na ng isang taon sa ating DOST report. At tayo ay natutuwa kasi ay maganda naman ang naging feedback sa ating DOST report. Maging ito ay sa ating mga publiko o maging sa mga ibang opisyalis ng gobyerno. Kaya nagpapasalamat ako sa inyo, Onin, at sa buong team at sa lahat ng ating taga-subaybay.
Salamat po, Sec Boy. Ngayon po simulan po natin ang isang oras na balitaan. Narito rin po si Secretary Boy para sa mga updates tungkol sa science and technology programs na bansa sa sektor ng kalusugan, kabuhayan, kaayusan at kinabukasan. Narito si Secretary Boy.
Thank you very much, Onin, and I will start with my report from the kalusugan side. And the first part of the report actually is an update from our DOST Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, or PCHRD, regarding the status and progress of the different clinical trials for potential treatment and adjunctive therapy for COVID-19. Of course, we have already reported in the past about the completion of our BCO clinical trials in Santa Rosa Community Hospital in Santa Rosa City. That was actually for the suspects and probables, and we had, of course, reported the good results of the application of BCO. Although I was told that perhaps we have to wait for a scientific publication on the results of the BCO trials before we can actually recommend to DOH for the use of this product. But in PGH, they are doing this study for the severe and moderate cases, and these are for confined patients at PGH. Although for some time we had difficulty in getting patients because there was really a slowdown in the admissions during several months, and that was actually good, But in terms of recruiting patients, we had difficulty. But now, because of more admissions again, we were able to get more patient participants, and so this is actually to determine the safety of BCO through clinical parameters like the lipid profile, fasting blood sugar, the efficacy of BCO through the recovery process clearance. So they are targeting 77 patients, and we have already 42 enrolled in the study. On the other hand, the clinical trials for Lagundi, which actually started only recently, was able to generate the required or the targeted participants quite fast. Okay, this is also for the mild cases, and actually they got the participants coming from 7 quarantine facilities. The biggest number of participants came from the PNP Quarantine Center in Quezon City. So the first phase of that involved 75 participants just to determine what would be the best dosage. Okay, and they found from the phase or the stage 1 that it will be good to just give the so-called normal dose of Lagundi, and they found out that very few patients experienced the mild adverse drug reactions, and in fact no one from stage 1 became moderate or severe for COVID-19. And so now they have already reached 278 participants. That would be a little more than the 275 that I know that they have been targeting. So maybe by the end of June, we already have some results of the analysis for Lagundi. The case of Tawa-Tawa, however, which is a health supplement for dengue, it has been cleared only recently by the ethics committee, and supposed to be yesterday was the first day of giving the tawa-tawa to the volunteers. But they have already the volunteers, and the collaborator here is the Corazon Locsen Memorial Hospital in Region 6. We also have a clinical trial for melatonin, and the update that was given by our PCHRD is that so far there have been 61 out of the targeted 350 participants coming from 12 hospitals in Metro Manila. And this is actually to determine the effectiveness or efficacy and safety of the melatonin as an adjunctive therapy on top of the standard or empirical therapy for the case of hospitalized patients with COVID-19 pneumonia. Okay, so this is particular for patients who are COVID-19 and has pneumonia. And so that will determine, or hopefully it will tell whether it improves survival. It may determine whether there will be a lessening of the need for intubation and mechanically improve the recovery process. So those were the updates for the clinical trials. The second report under health, under kalusugan, is a report of our DOST Metals Industry Research and Development Center, and this is regarding the adult ventilator that they are developing. This is actually the OsteoVent 2, which is a, shall we say, a second version of the first OsteoVent, which is for children. So the OsteoVent 2 is designed now so that it will be can be used by both infants and adults. Okay, so it is both pressure and volume controlled. It measures tidal volume, and it has bacterial and viral features. So the prototype was actually completed way back in June 2020, but it has to be subjected to a medical device inspection by a third party, MedEquip, and it has passed through that. Now they already were able to get the approval of the UP Manila Health Research Ethics Board for the safety trial protocol. Okay, and so we expect that there will be in a short period sufficient number of OsteoVent 2 devices for the performance trials. Now, the other report that I would like to make under kalusugan is a report coming from DOST Region 5 sa Kabikulan, ano? And this is actually a training that they have conducted for 26 district hospitals or public healthcare centers in Bicol. And this is a hands-on training on Biotech M dengue aqua test kit and the NAAT lamp or lab in a mug. And this was done from April 27 to 30, 2021 with the collaboration of the Department of Health, Center for Health and Development in Bicol, and of course the company which startup company or the technology company that resulted this development of the Biotech M dengue aqua test kit, yung Manila Health Tech Corporation, which was founded by the researchers of our diagnostic kits. Still another report coming this time from the DOST Industrial Technology Development Institute is their report, okay, on the performance of their 3D printed valve holding chambers or BHCs that were tested at the Philippine Children's Medical Center, PCMC. This involved 6 respiratory therapists at the PCMC who conducted the performance evaluation of the valve holding chambers that were designed and 3D printed at the MatDev or Materials Development Laboratory at the Industrial Technology Development Institute. This was to check for observable changes in the VHCs after sterilization and application of aerosol medicine. And so they were able to find out that there were no observable changes in the so-called bulb holding chambers after sterilization or application of aerosol medicine. And they used the following parameters. They checked on the presence of cracks, on brittleness, on color change, on the presence of color and choking. These respiratory therapists tried the bulb holding chamber to administer aerosol medicine to the patient. Okay, so yung pala ang purpose na, the administration of aerosol medicines to the patient. Still on kalusugan, we have many items now on kalusugan. This one will be elaborated on later by one of our interviewees, Yusek Rowena Guevara, because this is an update on the contributions of the vaccine expert panel, the DOST-led vaccine expert panel to the country's COVID-19 vaccination program. As we know, this vaccine expert panel that was constituted by the DOST is taking care of the technical review of clinical trial applications. And they have evaluated COVID-19 vaccines also for possible negotiation by our vaccine SAR and the vaccine cluster, okay, so that we can get prioritization of these vaccines. And also the using the criteria that we have adopted and the criteria of WHO. Also, the vaccine expert panel has provided assistance in the technical review of clinical trial data that are submitted, okay, for emergency use authorization applications by the vaccine developers. So our vaccine expert panel is not only helping in the assessment of the applications for clinical trials or in determining which ones will be prioritized for possible negotiation of acquisition or procurement, but also in the case of EUA application. So they are a big help to our FDA. And of course, they are being consulted by DOH on matters related to the implementation of the vaccine, of the COVID-19 vaccination program. So of course, the vaccine expert panel members, okay, are also often interviewed, okay, as resource persons for various information and communication initiatives, both of DOST, DOH, and the vaccine cluster under the vaccine SAR. Now, one last item under kalusugan is, shall we say, good news that from our DOST Food and Nutrition Research Institute. And this is regarding the approval of 6 utility model applications on the application of gamma aminobutyric acid or GABA. So I will not enumerate anymore the 6 product or formulations that they applied, you know, or that got the approval for utility models, but mostly these are formulations that involve the use of orange sweet potato, okay, and also green tomato as inputs, okay. So the raw materials that were used in gamma aminobutyric acid are both the orange sweet potato and the green tomatoes. Okay. The last, we still have a report, of course, but this is on the launching of the carrot variant of the enhanced Nutriban, and I can really say it is good tasting, and the texture is very good. Okay. I even mentioned to FNRI, this is even better than the expensive ensaymada that I buy. Ano? But talaga, you can eat it without anything else. Okay, so this is now adopted by several of our licensees. Okay, now I will shift to kabuhayan, and the first one under kabuhayan is a project of our DOST Region 8. And this is the setting up of a seaweed drying facility in Merida, Leyte. Okay, actually, this is somehow a product of one of our programs, the iStart program. Okay, iStart really is our science and technology advocacy program. So we at the OST and can send people who can advise them on how to incorporate science and technology in their local government planning. Okay, so in their strategic local government planning. And one of the first adopters or takers of our iStart program is the province of Leyte under the leadership of Governor Dominic Petilla. Okay, and here they have already come up with a project that is implemented, of course, with assistance also from DOST by the province of Leyte. And this is the seaweed drying production facilities. And this involves several of our scientists, okay, and one of the real, shall we say, advocates of iStart is our NAST academician, Dr. Alvin Kulaba. So he really stayed there in Leyte, helping the provincial government in using the iStart. Okay, so this is really for countryside development using science, technology, and innovation. The other news in Kabuhayan involves a state university, and this is the Ifugao State University and in a car. And this project that we have supported is the development of Philippine signature Muscovy duck breed. Okay, and this is under the leadership of Dr. Elpidio Basilio Jr. of the Ifugao State University R&D unit. This has been approved by our DOST Philippine Council for Agriculture, Aquatic, and Natural Resources R&D or PICARD for a research project that will take 4 years of implementation. So it is something like what we did for the E3 breed of Itik Tinas, okay? But this time they are doing another one for Muscovy duck. Still on Kabuhayan, I just would like to report that our project or program supported by DOST PICARD entitled Smarter Approaches to Reinvigorate Agriculture as an Industry or SARAI. Okay, this is really our program for smart agriculture. Actually, they have expanded already through information and communication technology and online promotion of products and services. So now there are, shall we say, adoptions or utilization of Sarai technologies that has been co-implemented by 12 other state universities and colleges nationwide. And this is really a big help that we have collaborators here for purposes of dissemination and even training in the use of these smarter technologies. So this is really a very comprehensive program that deals with different applications, whether it is related to the analysis of the soil or whether this is related to the decision making related to the weather conditions or whether this is related to the information on demand and supply and many other technologies that have been developed. Now, still on Kabuhayan, our Forest Products Research and Development Institute or FPRDI has announced another new innovation in the form of an alternative method of preserving bamboo. Okay, and the alternative method to prolong life and to improve dimensional stability and color actually is an adaptation from a European from a technology that originated from European countries. Okay, and this is the principle of thermal modification of lignocellulosic material. PICARD funded the project. They have announced that they have made a breakthrough already in terms of this technology of using thermal modification of lignocellulosic material for our bamboo. Still on Kabuhayan, this time at from the Philippine Textile Research Institute, they announced to us that the OFWs that had indicated their wish to have a techno-based micro enterprise. I think there are about 7 of them who chose technologies coming from the Philippine Textile Research Institute. And therefore, they already started the training for them. And these are mostly on sericulture, on handloom weaving, machine fabrication. It's the machine fabrication. And then, of course, handloom woven product production and natural dyeing. These are technologies that have been developed and are promoted by the Philippine Textile Research Institute. And the 7 out of the first 59 graduates of our phase 1 of iForward Philippines, which is really our assistance to returning OFWs who wants to set up technology-based micro enterprises. 7 have indicated that they will go into textile and dyeing related businesses. Yun ang kabuuan ng ating kalusugan at kabuhayan. So marami tayong developments. So it took around about 11 items under kalusugan and kabuhayan.
Maraming salamat po, Sec Boy, mga kaibigan. Marami pa kayong dapat malaman. Huwag pimalis, magbabalik pa ang DOST Report. Tuloy-tuloy po ang ating programa para sa ikalawang bahagi ng DOST Report. Narito pong muli, Secretary Boy.
Maraming salamat, Onin. And these are now the reports on kaayusan and kinabukasan. So I will start with the developments or the reports on kaayusan. The first one is, of course, the invitation of our DOST Region 11. Okay, this is based in Davao. Because they will open their renewable and sustainable energy technologies or reset center in Davao City this coming May 28, 2021. The center actually is a partnership program with I believe this is an NGO, the Yamog Renewable Energy Development Group Incorporated. It sounds like a business also, okay? And the center will actually serve as a workshop where grassroots technicians and other people, okay, of course in Mindanao, could raise their skills in renewable energy to a higher level, as it will provide continuous opportunities for greater learning, okay? And so with the sharing of technical knowledge and expertise, this hub will support and help sustain the renewable energy initiatives and plans, particularly of poor communities, our DOST, Industrial Technology Development Institute, particularly the National Metrology Laboratory under them. Okay, and this is actually the holding of a virtual interlaboratory comparison scheme for microbiology last April 29. This is pioneering in a way. The interlaboratory comparison for microbiology ICSM 2021-01, this is a pilot study on the provision and conduct of proficiency test scheme for salmonella detection and also aerobic plate count in particularly in milkfish powder. So this activity is part of our ongoing project on biological metrology for microorganisms in food under our national metrology program. Likewise, another report coming from our DOST PBOX, which actually recently conducted a hazard and risk assessment training, this time for a private company which has partnered with our MIRDC, the Light Rail Manila Corporation. Recently, we had a report announcing the memorandum of agreement between the Light Rail Manila Corporation and our MIRDC so that they can consult MIRDC, particularly in their technology problems and also in the matter of fabricating parts which are no longer available. So the PBOX conducted the 6 days training, and this time on assessing possible earthquake impacts. Okay, so using the light rail operations. Okay, itong preparedness for earthquakes. The other one is a report coming from our Philippine Council for Industry, Energy, and Emerging Technologies, R&D, and I am referring to the project supported by PSHARED, being conducted by the Technological Institute of the Philippines, the development of pollution-powered battery light for cleaner lakes. Okay, so the researchers have developed a battery that lights up the path of fisher folks and at the same time cleans the polluted water at the same time. They called it ilawa, I-lawa, derived from the Filipino phrase ilaw, I, and lawa, ilaw mula sa lawa, light from the lake. They developed the battery technology from recycled aluminum-like cans to help light the path of fisher folk and clean the lakes at the same time when submerged underwater. So the researchers explained that the battery gets its power from the electrolytes in the water due to the presence of electric charges. So the battery cleans also the water by removing its phosphate content. Okay, phosphates in lake waters come from agricultural and residential runoffs, and they dissipate as the cell operates in the water. So that is, I think, welcome news. They even sent pictures, okay, of this lighting system that can help our fishermen who are out there in the sea, so they can have light, okay, in the areas where they are fishing. So finally, I go to kinabukasan, the 4K, and this is a report from our Science Education Institute announcing that for school year 2021-2022, they will support 43,493 ongoing undergraduate and graduate scholars in STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. Ito yung ongoing na mag-a-advance ng year level for 2021-2022, 43,493. Broken down into 36,452 for the bachelor's level, 4,603 for the Master of Science level, and 2,438 for the PhD level. And on top of that, DOST announced also that when the school year opens sometime in August, this is school year 2021-2022, they will award something like 12,000 new scholarships for incoming freshmen, 2,000 for the so-called junior level science scholarship for third year, and 1,640 new slots for MS, plus 765 new slots for PhD scholarship. Now, moving on, this time from Science Education Institute, this time from the Philippine Science High School system. One of their teachers has created 60 mathematics instructional YouTube videos for remote learning. And taking his knowledge and passion for mathematics beyond the classroom, a math teacher from the Philippine Science High School main campus, Leo Andre Crisologo, created 60 YouTube videos discussing grade 9 topics from first to fourth quarters for school year 2020-2021. Kailangan bigyan ng ng premyo, ano? Pero mo 60 YouTube modules. Now, still on training, our DOST Mimaropa or Region 4B, on the other hand, conducted virtual training on advanced robotics programming for enthusiasts and for high school students in Palawan. They did this to encourage the youth to engage in more STEM activities that foster imagination, creative thinking. State training were also the recipients of robotic kits through the DOST Mimaropa initiated projects on the promotion of STEM education, particularly in areas of robotics and mechatronics. And the second to the last item I would like to report is again a breakthrough in our international collaboration, and this time Philippines and Hungary are ready to pursue cooperation in science, technology, and innovation. Together with the Philippine Space Agency and the University of the Philippines, Visayas, we had a very productive dialogue with our Hungarian counterparts, led by the representation from the Embassy of Hungary in Manila. Okay, so the areas that were chosen as priority are in the fields of aquaculture, space technology, and science technology human resource development. Her Excellency Ambassador Titanilla To actually has met with us 2 times already. And on the second time, she brought along, of course, virtually the counterparts of our institutions who wish or which desires to partner with Hungarian institutions. And this is the University of the Philippines, Visayas, and the Philippine Space Agency. In fact, their counterparts in Hungary already forwarded to them a proposed memorandum of understanding, okay, between them and UP Visayas and the Philippine Space Agency. And finally, I just want to make a short report that I am proud to be invited as one of the keynote speakers in the 2021 event of the World Intellectual Property Organization and or the WIPO, and this was held last May 3, 2021. The topic is the future of post-COVID innovation finance, particularly in relation to the Global Innovation Index. So that winds up my report on the 4K. Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat.
Maraming salamat po, Sec Boy, sa aming pong pagbabalik. Makasama po natin ang ilan sa mga dating DOST Scholars na ngayon ay ginagamit ang kanilang kaalaman at kakayahan upang masolusyonan ang mga problemang pangkalusugan na kinakaharap po ng bansa. Wag po kayong bibitiw, magbabalik pa ang DOST Report. Kayo po'y nakatutok sa DOST Report. Sa loob po ng napakahabang panahon, napakarami na po scholars ang napagtapos sa tulong ng scholarship na ibinibigay po ng Department of Science and Technology. At ngayon po ay nasa iba't ibang fields of expertise na sila at marami sa kanila ginagamit ang kanilang kaalaman at kakayahan upang makapaglingkod sa bayan.
Mga kaonin, ngayon ay kikilalanin natin ang ilan sa mga dating DOST Scholars na ngayon ay tumutulong para masolusyonan ang ating mga malalaking problema sa kalusugan.
Isa sa pinakamatinding problema ang pangkalusugan na kinakaharap po natin ngayon at ng buong mundo ay ang COVID-19. Kaya naman marami po sa ating mga panauhin ngayon ay may mga gawain na makatutulong po sa paglaban natin sa pandemyang ito. Isa na po dyan ang una po nating panauhin. Isa po siyang isang graduate at scholar po ng DOST hanggang sa kanyang PhD. At ngayon, siya na ang Undersecretary ng Department of Science and Technology for Research and Development, walang iba kundi si Dr. Rowena Cristina L. Guevara, na siya rin pong tumatayo bilang chairperson ng Task Group on Vaccine Evaluation and Selection. Magandang araw po, ma'am.
Magandang agham sa iyo, Onin.
Yes, ma'am. Ano-ano po mga tungkulin ng Task Group on Vaccine Evaluation and Selection? Aling mga ahensya po ng pamahalaan ang parte po nito?
Onin, ang Task Group Vaccine Evaluation and Selection ay pinamumunuan ng DOST at ang DOH ang ating co-chair. Ang mga miyembro nito ay ang FDA, RITM, DFA, DTI-BOI, NDC at ang DOST Vaccine Expert Panel or VEP. Kami ay naatasan ng National Task Force Against COVID-19 na mag-oversee ng evaluation para sa pagsasagawa ng COVID-19 clinical trials sa bansa. Bukod dito, ang Task Group VES ay nag-evaluate ng mga results ng COVID-19 vaccine clinical trial bilang parte ng criteria para sa pagpili ng bakuna laban sa COVID-19. Ang TGVAS ay patuloy na naghahanap ng mga posibleng partner para sa local manufacturing at technology transfer ng COVID-19 vaccine at iba pang vaccines para sa ating vaccine self-sufficiency.
Alam mo, Yusik, madalas nating naririnig itong tinatawag na EUA or Emergency Use Authorization na ibinibigay ng ating FDA. Maaari mo bang banggitin kung para saan itong EUA at kung aling-aling mga bakuna na ang nabigyan ng EUA?
Ang Emergency Use Authorization ay binibigay ng Food and Drug Administration o FDA para sa limitadong paggamit ng bakuna laban sa COVID-19 kahit hindi pa rin tapos ang pag-aaral ukol dito. Sa ngayon, mayroong 7 ng inisyu na EUA approval ang FDA. Ito ay para sa mga sumusunod na bakuna: Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Sinovac, Gamaleya o Sputnik 5, Janssen, Bharat Biotech, at saka Moderna.
Nabanggit po ninyo, Undersecretary Guevara, ang vaccine clinical trial. Ano po ba ito? At may mga pharmaceutical companies ba na nagsumite nito sa TGVS para ma-evaluate ng vaccine expert panel?
Ang clinical trial ay ginagawa upang masuri at mapag-aralan kung ligtas at epektibo ang mga bakuna. Maliban sa sapat at maayos na Phase 1 and Phase 2 clinical trials data, nangangailangan din ang masusing ethical review ang bawat bakuna bago ito pahintulutang makapagsagawa ng clinical trial Phase 3 dito sa bansa. Sa kasalukuyan, mayroong 3 bakuna na binigyan ng pahintulot ng FDA upang magsagawa ng clinical trial Phase 3 sa ating bansa. Ito ay ang Sinovac, Janssen Pharmaceuticals at Clover Biopharmaceutical. Mayroon ding natanggap na mga bagong applications for clinical trial ang task group natin mula sa Shenzhen Kangtai Biological Products at sa West China Hospital at Sichuan University na parehong mula sa China.
Yusik, alam naman natin na lahat ng bakuna ay nanggagaling sa ibang bansa. Paano tayo nakipagtulungan o paano nakipagtulungan ang Pilipinas sa ating mga bilateral partners para dito sa tungkol sa bakuna?
Dahil sa limitadong kakayahan ng Pilipinas na magsagawa ng vaccine development, ang pamahalaan sa pamamagitan po ng DOST ay nakikipag-ugnayan sa ilang bilateral partners para sa vaccine development at clinical trials. Sa ngayon, nakikipag-coordinate po tayo ng TGVES sa 31 vaccine manufacturers at developers sa buong mundo.
Maraming salamat po, Yusik Gev, at gaya po na nabanggit ni Yusik Gev, parte po ng Task Group on Vaccine Evaluation and Selection ang Vaccine Expert Panel. At maswerte po tayo ngayon dahil makasama natin ang isa sa miyembro nito na si Doc Mario Antonio Hills II na isa ring Pisay graduate at DOST Scholar hanggang college. Magandang araw po, sir.
Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Apo, ano po ang gawain ng Vaccine Expert Panel na inyo po kinabibilangan?
Yes po, ang Vaccine Expert Panel po ay nagsasagawa ng technical review ng mga clinical trial applications na naayon sa inaprobahang proseso ng IATF at FDA. Sa kasalukuyan, nakapag-review na ang VEP ng 5 COVID-19 vaccine clinical trial applications, kung saan 3 mula rito ang inaprobahan na ng FDA upang magpatuloy. Noong nakaraang linggo lamang, ang task group ay nakatanggap ng bagong applications para sa pagsasagawa ng 2 independent COVID-19 vaccine clinical trials at ito ay kasalukuyang nire-review ng VEP. Pangalawa, ang VEP ay nakapagsuri din ng mga COVID-19 vaccines para sa posibleng negosasyon ng vaccine cluster alinsunod sa criteria na ginagamit ng WHO para sa COVID-19 vaccine prioritization at WHO target product profiles para sa mga bakuna kontra COVID-19 na may karagdagang kriteria at konsiderasyon na naayon sa lokal na pangangailangan. Pangatlo, sa kahilingan ng FDA, nakatutulong din ang VEP sa pagbibigay ng technical review sa mga ipinasang datos na may kinalaman sa clinical trial bilang parte ng aplikasyon ng Emergency Use Authorization or EUA ng mga kumpanyang gumagawa ng bakuna. Pang-apat, ang VEP ay parte rin ng All Experts Group na kinukonsulta ng DOH sa mga bagay na may kinalaman sa implementasyon ng COVID-19 vaccination program ng ating bansa. At panglima, ang mga miyembro ng VEP ay nagsisilbing resource person din sa iba't ibang information, education at communication initiatives ng DOST, DOH at Vaccine Cluster na may kinalaman sa pagsasagawa ng vaccine clinical trials, COVID-19 vaccines in general, at COVID-19 vaccination program.
Bago ko itanong yung susunod kong tanong, gusto ko lang bagitin na si Dr. His ay scholar ng DOST sa kanyang high school, Philippine Science High School, at siya rin ay scholar sa kanyang bachelor's degree sa molecular biology and biotechnology sa UP Diliman. Dr. His, ano ba ang ginagampanan mong papel dito sa Vaccine Expert Panel bilang miyembro ng panel na yan?
Thank you, Sec Boy. At malaking tulong po sa akin talaga yung DOST Scholarship nung ako'y nag-aaral pa. Kaya maraming salamat po sa DOST. Okay, yung ginagampanan ko po, bilang isang researcher din po ako ng bakuna. I am also a vaccine researcher. Kaya sinusuri ko po ang mga datos ng mga vaccine candidates for COVID kung ito ba ay scientifically sound. Una, sinisigurado ko kung ang disenyo ng bakuna ay angkop at tama. Sunod, sinusuri ko ang resulta ng kanilang animal trials, kung magandang ba ang performance ng vaccine sa animals at sinusuporta nito ang pagpatuloy nito into human clinical studies. Finally, sinusuri ko rin ang human clinical trial data, lalo na ang epekto nito sa ating immune system kasi po ay isa po akong immunologist din. Ang ating immune system, kagaya po ng ating mga antibodies, ay ang dahilan kung bakit tayo napoprotektahan ng mga bakuna laban sa sakit. Ngunit ang ating pong immune system ay pwede ring magbigay o magdulot ng paglala ng COVID. Kaya dapat po may tamang epekto ang bakuna sa ating immune system para masigurado natin na safe at effective po ito. Secretary?
Thank you. Okay.
Para po sa ating mga manonood na may pangamba pa rin ho sa mga bakuna na meron tayo ngayon, ano-ano ba mga proseso na pinagdaraanan bago maaprubahan ang paggamit po ng isang bakuna, Dr. Hills?
Naku, Oni, napakahaba at napakabusisi ang proseso bago po maaprubahan ng isang COVID-19 vaccine. Nasa pandemya po tayo, kaya andyan ang urgent need para sa bakuna, pero bawal po mag-shortcut. Sinisigurado po ng VEP at ng ating mga otoridad na ang bakuna ay ligtas, epektibo, at epektibo hindi lamang sa clinical trial, kundi makadudulot ito ng malaking tulong sa pagbaba ng dami ng nagkakasakit sa COVID at ang pagsugpo ng pandemya. Ang pagnanaliksik sa bakuna ay nagsisimula, as I mentioned earlier, sa tamang pagdisenyo at manufacturing nito na tumutuloy sa animal testing kung ito ba ay ligtas at mabisa hanggang sa kanyang phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials. So, bago pa man magsagawa ng clinical trials sa tao, sinusuri muna ang datos sa animal studies. At kung may makitang masamang side effect or hindi epektibo ang bakuna, tinitigil na ito sa animal level pa lamang, hindi na siya tinutuloy into human clinical trials. So ang maari lamang gamitin na sa human clinical trials ay ang merong magandang performance ayon sa kanilang animal studies. Nang dahil ang ating immune system sa tao ay hindi rin kapareho dun sa mga hayop, hindi siya eksaktong kapareho, kailangan talaga nating gumawa ng human clinical trials para malaman kung safe at epektibo ang isang bakuna. Sa clinical trials, inaabot ng libo-libong katao hanggang 30,000, 50,000 ang sinasali para lamang sa isang bakuna. Sinusuri din ng FDA at tinutulungan din ng VEP na tingnan ang datos mula sa clinical trial at kung may makita kaming medyo mali, hindi tama o may masamang side effect o hindi maganda ang epekto ng bakuna sa tao o kaya hindi namin nakita na epektibo yung bakuna, ay hindi po ito inaaprobahan. Kaya napakabusisi po at napakahaba ng proseso ng paggawa ng isang bakuna.
Dr. Hayes, bilang bahagi po ng Vaccine Expert Panel, maaari bang kunin ang inyong mensahe sa mga kababayan natin na natatakot pa rin po magbabakuna para sa COVID-19?
Sige po, sa mga takot po na magkalagnat, o sumakit yung braso, o manghina yung katawan dahil sa bakuna, huwag po kayong mag-alala. Ang ibig sabihin lang po nito ay nagtatrabaho po ang inyong immune system para magsimulang maprotektahan na kayo sa COVID-19. Huwag po kayong mag-alala sa mga common side effects na yan. Okay? Sa mga severe side effects naman, naintindihan namin ang pangamba at pag-aalinlangan ng ating mga kababayan ukol dito. Ngunit kahit madalas ito sa balita o kalat na kalat sa Facebook, itong mga severe adverse events, pinapaliwanag po namin na ang mga serious side effects na ito ay very, very rare. Rare na rare po yung mga side effects na to. Pero alalahanin natin, kalat na kalat pa rin po ang pandemya, kalat na kalat pa rin ang virus. Hindi natin alam kung makakawaan tayo ng COVID at kung gaano kalala ang sakit na makuha natin galing sa virus na ito. Kung minsan nga, kahit sa sobrang ingat natin, nakakawaan pa rin tayo ng COVID. So para sa ikabubuti mo at sa ikabubuti ng iyong pamilya, mga kasamahan sa trabaho at sa buong komunidad, maigi po na magpabakuna po tayo lahat para hindi ka magkasakit at hindi mo mahawaan ang iyong mga mahal sa buhay. Yung mga rare side effects po, napaka-rare po yan, 1 in a million. Mas mataas po yung chance na tamaan tayo ng kidlat kaysa po magkaroon ng severe side effects. Ang lahat po ng experts, vaccine experts dito sa Pilipinas, ay iisa ang boses sa pagsuporta ng pagbabakuna sapagkat lubhang epektibo ito at ito ang susi sa pagsugpo natin sa pandemya.
Maraming salamat po, Dr. Hayes. Noong 2012, na-develop po ang Osteavent 1 for infants at ito po yung sinasabing kauna-unahang commercial available na Filipino-made ventilator. At noong pong nakaraan taon, dala na rin po ng pangangailangan dulot po ng COVID-19, nag-develop po ang mga eksperto ng Osteavent 2 na maaaring naman gamitin sa mga nakatatanda. At upang ibahagi ang inovasyong ito, makasama po natin Engineer Robert O. Tison, ang Executive Director ng Metals Industry Research and Development Center. At siya naman po ang isa sa nag-develop ng Osteavent 2 ventilator. Si Director Rob ay batch 86 po sa Pisay at DOST Scholar din po sa UP. Magandang araw po, sir.
Magandang hapon, Onin, tsaka Sekboy.
Sir, unang po sa lahat, ano po ang mekanismo ng isang typical na ventilator? Gumagamit ba din ng parang mekanismo ang Osteavent technology?
Ang ventilator ay isang instrumento, no, na nagbibigay ng karampatang hangin at oxygen sa isang pasyente na nahihirapang huminga. Ang typical na ventilator ay nilalagay sa pagitan ng supply ng hangin at oxygen at ng pasyente. Pero yung dinevelop naming ventilator, nilalagay siya katapos ng pasyente. So mas simple ang mekanismo niya at mas madali din siyang mabuo at paganahin. Yun nga lang, mas malakas siyang kumonsumo ng oxygen tsaka ng hangin kaysa sa ibang ventilator.
Director Bob, ano pinagkaiba ng Osteavent 2 from Osteavent 1?
Sekboy, yung Osteavent 1 kasi ay isang infant ventilator. Ang karaniwang gumagamit ng ganyan ay yung mga bagong panganak na baby na usually ay premature. Kaya nga sila may problema sa paghinga dahil premature. Kung ikukumpara mo ang baga ng isang baby sa isang adult ay para kang nagkumpara ng plastic bag ng ice candy sa plastic bag ng ice tubig. So malaki ang kinaibahan ng ng baga ng baby sa adult. Kaya yung sa Osteobent 2, dinevelop natin to para magamit ang ventilator sa adult. So ang una nating kinailangang bunuin ay yung mas mataas na pressure na kailangan sa adult, tsaka mas malaking volume ng hangin. Dati rin yung infant ventilator ay pressure lang ang kinokontrol natin. Dito sa adult ventilator sa Osteobent 2, kailangan na rin natin control yung dami ng hangin na papasok sa baga ng pasyente. Tapos yung infant ventilator din, wala siyang filter kasi hindi naman usually nakakahawa ang sakit ng mga baby. Itong Osteobent 2, gagamitin natin sa COVID na alam naman natin talaga na nakakahawa. So kailangan lagyan natin siya ng filter para yung hindi maiwan sa loob ng ventilator yung virus o yung mga bakterya na delikado na malipat sa susunod na gagamit ito. So marami kaming nilagay na mga safety features dito sa Osteobent 2.
Ayun. Director, nito pong taon po ito ay nabigyan po ng Certificate of Medical Device Testing or CMDL ng Food and Drug Administration. Sa akin po, kamustang isinasagawa ang clinical trials po para dito? Kailan po natin naasa maumpisahan ang mass production nito?
At tama ka, Onin, nitong Marso, nabigyan na tayo ng go signal ng FDA para i-conduct itong clinical trial. Noong April, buo na yung medical team na magsasagawa nitong trial na ito. Maayos na rin yung susundin nilang safety protocol. Hinihintay na lang talaga ngayon na bumaba ang kaso ng COVID kasi gagawin natin tong trial sa PGH. Sa ngayon, puno ang PGH, tsaka talagang COVID patients lang ang tinatanggap nila. Ito kasing gagawing trial, sa non-COVID patient gagawin. Basta oras na tumatanggap na ang PGH ng pasyente na non-COVID, tutuloy na tayo sa trial. Sa trial naman 10 pasyente lang ang gagawin sa 10 pasyente lang. Kaya tsaka ilang oras lang 'to. Kaya sa isang buwan, wala pang isang buwan matatapos na itong trial. Kaya kung maganda naman na magiging resulta ng trial, magbubuo pa ulit tayo ng 5 units nitong Osteobent 2 para naman makapag-conduct tayo ng field trial. Gagamitin na siya sa ibang ospital at sa ibang pasyente. Pag successful rin ang ating field trial, saka na tayo magsisimula ngayon ng mass production. Ila-license na natin siya at saka magma-mass production na tayo. So sana sa katapusan nitong taon ay meron na tayo mga mass-produced na Osteobent 2.
Alright. Maraming salamat po, Director Robert Dizon ng DOST MIRDC. Hindi lamang po COVID-19 ang problema kinakarap po ng ating bansa sa ngayon. Taong 2019 po, nagkumpirmahin ng Department of Agriculture ang African Swine Fever o ASF outbreak. Ayon po sa pinaka-latest na report, umabot po sa mahigit 3 milyon ang baboy na naapektuhan ng virus na ito. Ang karne po ng mga apektadong baboy ay hindi maaari ikonsumo ng mga tao. Dulot po nito ang kakulangan sa supply ng baboy at pagtaas ng presyo nito na makakaapekto sa food security ng bansa. Ang susunod po natin mga kasama eksperto ay nakapag-develop naman ng isang test kit para ma-detect ang African Swine Fever sa mga alagang baboy ng ating mga kababayan. Ito po ay tinatawag na ASFV Nanogold Biosensor. Makakasama po natin Dr. Clarissa Yvonne Domingo mula Central Luzon State University, ang developer ng test kit na ito. Magandang araw po, Dr. Clarissa. Ano po ba ang inyong expertise at paano po nagsimulan ang development ng test kit para sa ASF virus?
Unang-una po, nagtapos po ako ng Doctor Public Health. I was a former DOST PCHRD scholar. At yung aking thesis rin po, yung dissertation ko, is One Health dahil may interface po ng animals and humans. And at the same time, Picard also helped grant the extra funding for my thesis kasi yung dissertation Kaya na-expose po ako sa Picard. Dahil po doon po nagsimula lahat. Dahil after I graduated and finished my DRPH, kinausap po ako nila Dr. Edwin Villar and Dr. Sinan na sa Livestock Research Division. Why don't I develop a test kit on a particular viral infection of swine, that is porcine epidemic diarrhea. So I started from that. Tapos doon sa viral infection po na yan, after the laboratory workflow, using the principle of loop-mediated isothermal amplification, I assembled the workflow together with my research team. We assembled it into a test kit so that it could be used by anyone, even without any background on molecular laboratory. Kasi nga, gusto namin, hindi po hanggang laboratory workflow lang ito. Kailangan isip ko, dapat kung micropipettor, ang mahal-mahal niyan. Minsan po, pag pinindot mo ng mali, imbis na mag-siphon, i-inject niya yung tip. Kaya kailangan po may practice. Kaya ngayon, we replaced everything in a very simple manner na madali lang. Kaya ang tawag po namin ay andali test kits. So after PED, nagkaroon po ng Newcastle disease, sakit naman ng manok. So yun naman po, gumawa na naman po kami doon at yun po ay na-assemble rin po namin sa test kits. Tapos from there, again, Picard funded for the test kit development of another two viral infections of swine, for hog cholera and for PRRS, yung porcine reproductive and respiratory syndrome. And then afterwards, pumutok po yung ASF. So during that time, nagkataon po na yung naisip po namin na during that time, tapos na po yung project po namin sa Picard nun, yung dalawang PRRS and hog cholera. Sabi ko, dapat maging proactive tayo. Kung ano yung, hindi pa naman grabe yung pasok, nagsisimula pa lang, sa Vietnam pa lang ang pagpasok ng ASF noon, gawa na tayo ng research. Let's use publications, yung nucleotide sequences ng ASF galing sa publications, tapos mag-start na tayo unti-unti. Tapos after that, nakagawa kami pero sa environmental monitoring. So we use that on swabs, surface swabs. And then kailangan i-validate. So we have to do the validation together with Bureau of Animal Industry. So it took a while kasi nung una, syempre hindi pa po namin alam kasi first time po yung ASF eh. And then hindi po namin talaga alam kasi ang PRRS meron na tayo noon tsaka hog cholera, kaya walang problema. Pero ang ASF first time tsaka wala kaming idea kung ano ba talaga yung mangyayari, yung kanyang, yung pathogenicity niya, lalo na dito sa Philippines, ganun. So, nung pumutok po niya yung ASF noong 2019, na-confirm po sa Purebright, nakakuha po kami ng spleen ng mga baboy doon sa Rizal. So, doon po kami kumuha ng pini-CR po namin yon, and then afterwards, we had it gene sequenced and we developed primers based on the Pinoy strain. Kasi yung mga ginagamit po ay strain po sa Georgia, sa Eastern Europe, ganun. So ito po, Pinoy strain na po ito. So, yun po.
Doktora, paano isinasagawa yung test using your ASF nano-gold biosensor at ano ang mga sample na pwedeng gamitin at gaano katagal ang resulta?
Okay po. Yung test kit po namin, ang principle, the mode of action of that test kit was based on a combination of the loop-mediated isothermal amplification. Ibig sabihin po, iba po ito sa PCR dahil one temperature lang, 58 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes ang amplification niya. Kanya lang po, kaya medyo complicated kasi yung primer designs, 3 pairs. Kasi yung PCR, 1 pair lang po yan. Pero ito po, 3 pairs. And from there, kaya mabilis, kasi mabilis pong pag-amplify dahil naglo-loop siya, kaya tinawag po na loop-mediated. Now, it is combined with nanotechnology because instead of using the cyber green, which is the usual visualizing dye for lamp, we used gold nanoparticles. Kasi dito po, kitang-kita ang difference ng positive tsaka negative kasi colorimetry lang po ang interpretation ng results. So we can now differentiate if it's negative, it's red, the color of the dye, the original color of the dye of the gold nanoparticles is retained, which is red. Pero kapag positive at may na-amplify, nagiging gray.
Ngayong taon po ay naaprubahan ng mass production ng test kit na ito bilang parte po ng Bantay ASF sa barangay ng Department of Agriculture. Kamusta po ang estado nito at magkano po ang presyo per unit?
Itong test kit po is very versatile. Unang-una muna kasi it can be used as repopulation. So tamang-tama po ito sa Babay ASF and the twin program which is Inspire, which the main goal is to towards hog repopulation. Kasi ang dami na po nating farms na talagang tinamaan at wala na pong baboy. So ang mangyayari po, so bakit mag-check tayo ng baboy, wala lang ang baboy. Kaya ang sabi ko, tama-tama, ang test kit na ito, we can do surface swabbings and also water. And also, kung sakasakaling may baboy man, hindi na siya invasive because we don't need blood. But though we can use blood, of course, kasi yung viremia talaga, of course, sa blood nakikita yung virus. But maybe katulad sa COVID, pwedeng oral swabs, ganoon. So hindi siya masyadong invasive. Tapos pwede ring fecal, so rectal swabs, Kasi sa pupo, sa dumi, kapag infected na yung hayop, talagang pati yung yung virus lumalabas na rin sa dumi. So ngayon, ito pong test kit, yung isang test kit tulad ng mga ibang test kits na nagawa na po namin, pwede po siyang mag-test ng 10 tests. Pero nakita po namin, sabi ko, what if kung gawin pa natin na mas affordable, lalo na sa backyard, kasi yung backyard ngayon ang tinutulungan natin eh. So gawin natin, let's pull the samples. So sa isang tube, doon sa test kit, may 10 tubes po doon. So sa isang tube, pwedeng mag-pull ng 5 swabs. So, pumapatak, kung yung isang test kit ay 3,500 for 10, so kung yung isa 350, so yung isa na yon 5 pa ang pwede doon, so pumapatak na 70 pesos lang po.
Umpisa na ba ang rollout nito at saan-saang lugar?
Yung unang-una po, kasi nung nabalitaan po ni Secretary Dar, sabi niya, sige, bigyan natin ng pondo ito. Pero noon pa, yung National Livestock Program of DA, ginamit po ito sa Babay ASF, so it was rolled out in Batangas, of course, kasi yun ang pilot testing. So actually, pilot testing pa lang sana to, sir. So, pilot testings Batangas. And then they found out, okay, nakakatulong. Kasi marami na ngayon na red ang color dati sa ASF map ay nagiging pink na. Kasi after after 90 days, nakakasurvive po ang baboy. So, nearing the ideal market weight, no? So, nakasurvive. So, nagiging pink na, unti-unti nagiging pink na yung, yung mga colors ng mga provinces, not province, sorry, yung mga cities, towns sa Batangas. Pagkatapos nun, yung may mga private companies that supported or collaborated with the Department of Agriculture. So they helped kasi alam po natin basta sa government kasi medyo maraming mga back, tsaka yung mga resolutions pa, ganun. Pero pag sa private company, pag sinabi nila, sige, we want you to deliver this in Iligan. Sige, deliver ng Iligan. So pati yung freight, yung air freight, sila po nagbayad. Kaya, doon sa Iligan, nakapag na po kami ng, siguro mga around 50. Tapos sa Davao, doon sa Kidapawan, mga 50 rin po, 50 kits. 50 kits. Yun po, na rin po kami doon. So, continuous po so there are 2 companies that are supporting and helping the DA.
Ma'am, salamat po ng marami sa oras po ninyo. At salamat din po ng marami sa ating mga panauhin ngayong araw na ito. Dr. Rowena Cristina L. Guevara, Undersecretary for Research and Development ng DOST. Dr. Mario Antonio Institute for Tropical Medicine or RITM at miyembro po ng Vaccine Expert Panel kay Engineer Robert O. Dizon, Executive Director, Metals Industry Research and Development Center, at Dr. Clarissa Yvonne Domingo, Central Luzon State University. Sa aming pong pagbabalik, sasagutin ni Secretary Boy ang mga katanungan ng bayan, kasama pa rin po ang ating mga panauhin. Wag po kaya rin, magbabalik pa ang DOST Report.
Support of the government like DOST for program development like this has been overwhelmingly inspirational. Through thick and thin, they've been there and helping us out.
Oras na para sagutin ni Secretary Boy ang tanong ng bayan. Para sa unang katanungan, mula po kay Christian Yusores ng Bombo Radio at Julius Cruz, vlogger in Fire Life YouTube channel. For Undersecretary Guevara, from the vaccine companies na may bilateral partnership or negotiation sa Pilipinas, alin or sino po sa kanila yung may plano magtayo ng manufacturing site dito sa bansa? Which ones are selected for Philippine market? What are the chances na from these bilateral partners magiging COVID-19 vaccine self-sufficient ang ating buong bansa?
Yung kasing mga pangalan ng mga kumpanya na yan, hindi natin pwedeng sabihin sa ngayon. Kasi may mga negosasyon na nangyayari. Pero nakita namin, may 6 na kumpanya na gusto nila talagang magkaroon ng local manufacturing dito. At may kanya-kanya na silang iba't ibang partners from our bilateral partners. Ang hinihintay lang natin, mag-solidify yung negotiations nila bago tayo mag-umpisang mag-announce. Pero sa nakikita namin, parang kaya talaga nilang mag-manufacture locally. At yung isa sa kanila, parang kaya niyang makapag-umpisang mag-manufacture yung fill and finish na tinatawag kahit this year.
Ito po yung tanong na kay Christian Yusores pa rin, ng Bombo Radio. Kay Dr. Hiz, has the VEP able to look into the data of the Gamaleya Sputnik 5 vaccine before it was granted EUA by the FDA? Brazil's regulatory authority has recently rejected the importation of the vaccine due to its alleged inherent risks and serious defects. Yan po kanyang katanungan.
Yes po. So ang VEP po ay review ng application ng Gamaleya from Russia, the Sputnik V vaccine. And nakita po ng aming VEP that based on the records that was shown to us that we support the approval of the Sputnik V vaccine for the emergency use application. So sa amin pong mga papers and documents na ipinasa sa amin, wala po kaming nakitang red flag or red signals na hindi po mabisa at hindi safe yung bakunang ito. Kaya po in-endorse po namin sa FDA na i-approve po ito for emergency use.
Alright. Ito po'y katanungan mula kay Bel Suraran, mga 25 at Radyo Avila. Kapag nabakunahan ba humihina ang resistensya ng tao, ilang araw matitiyak na ligtas na si virus pagkatapos ng pangalawang bakuna?
Naku, Onin, madalas kong mababasa yan sa chat group sa Facebook o kaya sa Viber. Hindi po totoo na nanghihina ang immune system natin pagkatapos mabakunahan. It just takes time. Vaccination, kumbaga, it takes time for us to develop a protective immune response. So, hindi po agad-agad na pag tinurukan tayo ng bakuna ay nagkakaroon na agad ng epekto. Hindi po yan. In fact, kadalasan ng mga bakuna natin, we need 2 doses of the vaccine to make it surely effective. And you need 2 weeks after the second dose para po masabi na protected talaga tayo. We are looking at the data from the clinical trials, most especially the phase 3 clinical trials. And these data show that, the second dose, the booster dose is very important. And data coming from them showing na after 2 weeks after the second dose, doon po talaga makikita yung pinakamagandang epekto ng bakuna. Kaya hindi po totoo na humihina yung ating immune system pagkatapos mabakunahan. It just takes time bago po tayo magkaroon ng protective immunity to the vaccine.
Ito po'y tanong pa rin mula kay Bel Ferrara, maaari bang gamitin ang ventilator kahit po sa loob ng sasakyan, lalo na't punuan ng bed capacity ng mga ospital?
Ganun din, no? Yung doktor lang din ang makakasagot din sa tanong mo. Pero pwede naman kasi yung may ginawa rin kami before doon sa infant ventilator, niligay namin siya ng pwede siyang maging operational sa ambulansya kunwari. So niligay namin siya ng provision para kumuha ng power doon sa sa battery ng sasakyan. So pwede naman talaga siya sa sasakyan.
Isa buong tanong, Dr. Domingo. Noong pong January, the DA allocated 80 million pesos to support the ASF test kits. How is the development and production of the said test kits since? Enough po ba yung budget? And how active is the DA in coordinating with your team? May malalaking pharmaceutical companies na bang nag-express ng interest in supporting the mass production of ASF test kits?
So, unang-una po, dun sa 80 million, hindi po yan 80 million % na ibibigay. Yun po ay allotted ng DA para sa mga regional field offices in order to procure or to purchase the test kits. So, hindi po ang ibibigay lang po para lang sa mass production mass production, ang tawag ay 50. But the 30 ay para po yan i-distribute sa mga regional field offices so that they can have budget to procure kasi ang kailangan po sa ngayon kasi bumili po ng 3 robotics kasi sabi ko I cannot do it with my few research people for the entire Philippines or kung ilan yung regional, hindi po namin kaya yan. Nagkakaroon na po ng spasm yung mga daliri ng aking mga laboratory people pipette. So dahil doon bumili po ng 3 robotics that can mass produce not 3 but rather 5 robotics that can mass produce them. So let's say 1 robotic can mass produce or can produce 400 kits per day. Kung 5 po yun, so 400 times 5 sa isang araw. So pwede na talagang mag-produce. Ang na lang, so nakabili na po yun. Ang kailangan na lang po ay budget para sa raw materials, para sa procure the reagents, packaging, and etc. Doon na lang po. So, yun po ang pagkaalam ko ay ganun po ang yung 80 million per se, hindi po lahat yun ay para sa test kits po yun. That is only to capacitate the DA regional offices to have access to the test kits and also for the mass production of the test kits. Yun po.
Alright, Doc, maraming po salamat po sa inyo at sa ating buong lahat ng mga naging panauhin. Undersecretary Romela Guevara, USEC for Research and Development, Dr. Mario Antonio Giz, II, Immunology Department Chair ng RITM at Engineer Robert O. Dizon, Executive Director ng MIRDC at Dr. Calisa Yvonne Domingo ng Central Luzon State University. Secretary, may mga nais po kayong sabihin.
Una-una pasasalamat kay Yusek Gem, kay Dr. Domingo, kay Dr. His at kay Director Bob sa kanilang pagbibigay ng panahon para dito sa atin. Kita naman natin kung gaano kalaki at kahalaga ang science and technology sa pag-solve ng iba't ibang uri ng ating mga pressing national problems at katulad ng sa kalusugan. At maging ito ay problema ng tao, hayop o ng ating mga agricultural crops, at ang ating investment o pagtaya sa pagpapaaral ng mga scholars sa science, technology, engineering, and mathematics ay sulit na sulit po. At isang uri pa lang ng problema itong ating tinalakay ngayong araw na ito at napakarami pa pong national problems na kailangan ang science and technology. At hindi lang naman yun, marami din naman talagang mga scholars na hindi lang sa research na i-involve at meron tayong mga nandiyan sa mga leaders sa gobyerno. Sa amin lang sa DOST ay napakarami naming opisyalis na DOST scholars at nandiyan din yung mga nasa academe, at kahit doon sa ating mga educational system, yung mga naglilingkod sa ating basic education at marami rin namang naging sabihin na nating entrepreneurs and corporate leaders. Kaya para sa ating DOST scholars, ang masasabi ko lang, sisikapin namin at kahit sino pa yung mga sumunod sa amin na kayo ay magkaroon ng katuparan ang inyong ninanasang paglilingkod o gawain sa science and technology kahit hindi po kayo aalis sa Pilipinas. Marami pong gagawin. Maraming salamat sa ating mga bisita at sa ating mga taga-subaybay.
Maraming salamat po, Sec Boy, mga kaibigan. Abangan nyo rin po ang Bantay Bulkan tuwing Martes at Expert Talk Online tuwing Miyerkules at 5 ng hapon. Kasama si Jen Miranda sa DOST Facebook page at YouTube channel. Mas marami pang balita mula sa mundo ng siyensya at teknolohiya ang ating pag-usapan. Tutok lamang kayo tuwing Biyernes alas 4 ng hapon dito sa DOST Facebook page. Ako po si Oring Miranda. Ito ang mga balitang may kinlaban sa siyensya at teknolohiya para sa bawat Pilipino straight from the Essential Authority ng bansa. Ito ang DOST Report.